Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Experts. This is the first episode of our new season, our 2024 season. I believe this is episode now 101. Our last episode was the live episode we did just a few weeks ago, talking about just kind of looking back on some of our most memorable moments of Meet the Experts. I am Jay Vix, the host. We run a software as a service company. The software is called Journey Builder CRM, and we do a lot of digital marketing for small business owners. So this whole platform and this whole show is powered by Journey Builder. This being a guest on this, we interview business owners, marketers, customer success people who are in business. They're either in a sales or support role in some capacity, whether way up at the top or C-level, or just anybody who's got a product or service they want to talk about. And it doesn't cost them anything to be a guest. So yes, this is free. And if you want to learn how you can be a guest on a future episode of Meet the Experts, you got to stick around till the end of the episode, which is going to be really easy to do because my guest today is awesome. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So stick around and to the end, and I'll tell you how you can be a guest. So that being said, I am so excited for today's episode. My friend Cindy Hooker is going to be coming up here in just a second. And I know her from the Greensboro area. We are friends. We frequent one of the similar establishments here in town, which is a good thing. It's a very fun experience. If anybody's heard me talk about Kava before, you'll know. But we've become friends, and we often talk about our similar passions for hitting the ski slopes. Her on a snowboard, me on skis. And we just had another great conversation about Snowshoe, West Virginia recently. So really excited to have her on so she can talk about her role in her company, because they are doing amazing things in the manufacturing space. So without further ado, I hope I didn't build her up too much now, but if I did, so what? Let's get Cindy up here. Cindy, how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, and it's okay. You can overpromise and underdeliver on this one, right?
Oh, it's totally going to be the other way around for sure. So
Perfect.
I'm excited to have you. Before we get too deep into like your role and everything that the company you work with does, just why don't you tell us a little bit more about who you are and kind of a little bit of an overview of that role?
Sure. So, like I said, I live in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I work remotely for a company that is based out of Canada, but they have another office, an entity, so to speak, in the US. And I have been working in this field in customer support for this particular ERP called Epicor, now called Epicor Kinetic, for about 10 years now. So I got started 10 years ago, and I loved helping people get what they need and helping them find solutions. And so I stuck with it. And my day in and day out role would be to basically make sure that everybody's happy, they're referenceable, so that they feel the lovey-dovey feeling that sometimes larger companies can't give them, if that makes sense. So yeah, my areas that we would help people in would be, I can't get in touch with somebody that's running my case at Epicor Direct, or I need a consultant that can help me with XYZ in the financial field or the operational field. And so it really varies from day to day, because ERP is such a large system in general, no matter what ERP it is. It's really tough to learn everything and know everything, and it's ever changing, right? There's upgrades. And there's new additions and new functionalities. So I help the clients keep up with that in a less stressful way than if they were just doing it on their own, so to speak.
I love the lovey-dovey. Like, I love the lovey-dovey reference. And I think that you and I are definitely cut from the same cloth in the fact that we kind of do similar things for different industries and with different types of softwares and different types of business processes, me mostly on the marketing side. But again, we sell and support a platform that's constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly updating as well. So I get the complexities, and our clients, if I can't just give them a login and say, have fun, right? Like, they will cancel. They will be like, what did you just do to me? So there's a high level of interaction and support that we have to provide. And it sounds like you do too on your side. So let's talk about some of those services. I'm not really familiar with ERP, so I kind of want to go into like the whole Epicor ERP and those services and who you really strive to help.
Sure. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning, and it's usually it's usually used by companies that are fairly larger, you know, 5 to 20 million in some cases, and then all the way up to 1 billion, right? And you have different tiers. So we're tier two, and we're mid market, right? So these are customers that are hoping to grow over time. But if you have 5 employees, you might stick with something like QuickBooks, right? So we help companies that are growing that need to either replace or find a solution that is going to keep up with business growth. And it can cover anything from financials to HR to inventory control. I mean, it really helps your business speak to every other area of the business so that you're not running over to one department and saying, hey, can you manually enter this into this system? Oh, my dog wanted to jump in my lap. She's like, why can't I have the camera? It helps you avoid having to manually enter in other information that comes from different departments, because a lot of companies will be using 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 different systems to run each part of their business. And you can imagine the time and energy it takes away from running the business and doing what they want to do just to get information in the right place. And it really makes it difficult when you're not on a all-inclusive system to get the right data. And I kind of think of it like a house, right? You've got your kitchen and your bathroom and your garage, and this helps you stay in the same house, right? You're not going from building to building. So that was the analogy that was used to me when I first started back in 2014. And it's the one I still use today because I think it makes the most sense, right? Yeah. So that's what ERP is in a nutshell. And it is ever changing. So it's designed to keep up with the industries that it services and put research back into what can we improve process wise.
I love it. And now you kind of niche in the manufacturing space. Is that right?
We do. So Epicor is great for discrete manufacturing, and over the last several years, they've invested heavily in process manufacturing. So if you're a manufacturing company, it's one of the top systems that you can evaluate if you're looking for a new ERP system.
Awesome. Well, I like the analogy of the house too, because, we see it, and again, so much of what you're talking about is like resonating with me, because on the marketing side, we see people that use email software, booking calendar software, CRM software, communication software like text marketing. They have a website management tool, whether that's Wix or GoDaddy or Square or Space or somebody like that, or even WordPress. There's all these different things, and we have them all in one house as well. And I love the fact that it speaks to other areas inside the company, because I think if you don't have that connection, then gone are the days of where people are just putting things in an Excel spreadsheet and sending that over so that somebody else could enter that into another system and then spit out that report so that somebody else could do, and everybody's trying to wonder where everybody else is. And it sounds like you save a lot of time.
That because ERP is also jokingly referred to as Excel replacement program. So
that's funny. Oh, I'm glad I said that. Yeah. Firsthand experience with that in former lives and former jobs that I've had. Well, cool. So now, how long has 6S Partners been around?
Oh gosh, putting me on the spot here. Company history, I'd want to say since the early 2000s at least.
I wasn't really looking for a definite answer. I was
perfect.
Just kind of saying
the early 2000s.
Perfect. And that's good. The reason why I kind of led with that, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but the reason why I led with that question is because I knew the company had been around for quite some time, right? And you just don't get to where you don't get 5, 10, 15 years down the road, even 20 years down the road, if you're not doing good things for people, right? You're not experiencing some wins. Customers are getting results, right? So Are there any testimonials or wins, like a result that you guys have been able to get for a client that you could share?
Yeah, absolutely. So one really well-known company, Athletica, they make athleisure. That's sort of the new trend now. They had worked with us to select Epicor ERP, implement, and we trained them on that Epicor system. And so we sort of armed Athletica with tactical and strategic knowledge and the tools to help drive that organization forward so that they could keep up with their growth, they could increase revenue. So that's probably one that I might imagine some folks know more than others.
Awesome. Yeah, Athletica is a big name, big brand. That's awesome too, because that kind of gives us an idea of kind of some of the size of companies that you're working with, which is awesome. All right. You mentioned you got into this 10 years ago, right? I call it the earned it, learned it, proved your authority question.
Okay,
So
I'm ready for it.
all right, cool. So how does Cindy get to this point, even 10 years ago, let alone what the last 10 years, which has been like real world on the job stuff, but like how does it require a certain degree or education or title or certification? Like how did you educationally get to this point?
Sure. So I think that going into, and this is true for a lot of industries now, an entry level position starting out as, I did BDR work. I was sort of not necessarily cold calling, but I was taking information that we had and I was trying to generate more leads with that.
Mhm.
And what I found over time was I really liked helping people more so than selling to people. It sort of happens in tandem, but you don't necessarily have to have a degree in software or business. I was a sociology major, but if you want to be a consultant, right? And that those are the smart guys. I call them the smart guys. They've some of our resources have worked with Epicor for like 30 years. I mean, they worked with Epicor when they were a customer, and they worked with Epicor for Epicor Direct. And so we have resources that really know their stuff because they've been doing it for so long. But the only way to truly learn how to do something like that is to just dive heads first, right? It's not something I think that they teach in college. But we do. We have some people that know more than others when it comes to the specific software. But for me personally, it was really something that I just sort of had to live into.
Mm.
There was no specific degree or training. But in some cases, you might need training if you're going to be selling. If you're going to be selling the software versus helping people get it supported, you need to learn a little bit more about that system. But I will tell you, there is an Epicor Sales Certified training that I had to go through, and I had to take an exam and pass that. And that's just so that you know enough to not tell people the wrong thing and lead them in the wrong direction. Because the worst thing you can do is tell somebody something or imply something, and down the road they aren't getting what they need, and it's because you didn't really know what you were talking about. And that's I think that's the worst way to lose business is
Sure.
just not knowing enough about what you're selling, and then people feel misled
Right.
is something I like to avoid. So every day I'm trying to learn more and more about the new parts of Epicor and the improvements. So it's a lot to keep up with, but it's a learn as you go kind of thing because it's ever changing, like I mentioned before.
Yeah, and I love how you said you just had to live it, right? You just
Yeah.
had to live in it, right? And I think that's so true for so many people that are working in very specific things, and software is one of them, especially cloud-based technology. That the old days they put out a software, and then you'd learn that software, and then all of a sudden there'd be like a new version that would come out. So you'd prepare for the new version, it would be out. Business and software and technology doesn't work that way anymore. It's everything's just done on the fly. Like here's a new feature, here's a new feature. We're not waiting for the next release. New releases are happening daily, weekly, hourly sometimes, right? So
Sure.
very, very cool. And I love that you've been living in it. And I love that you found kind of your home, right, in this
Yeah.
field. So I'm going to change gears slightly. You don't have to, we can do it professionally, but I always ask people, I always give my guests the freedom to answer this one personally or professionally. But if I just said, hey, Cindy, tell me something you're truly thankful for, what do you say?
Oh gosh, it's always the same. I'm thankful that I get to work remotely. It's
Mm.
nice to work for a company. And I've been doing that since before COVID. Some people don't like it, some people love it. I'm the latter. Um, I love the flexibility that it gives me to live my life in a flexible way without having to, let me pencil in 2 extra hours in the day to get to and from. And, it's just, I love being able to work from home. And it's nice when you work for a company that trusts you to do that, right? Because they can't go in the office and see you working, but
Right.
I think I kind of work a little bit harder from home because I want them to know I'm absolutely working.
Sure.
So that's definitely always the top of my mind career-wise, what I'm most grateful for.
Love that. And as a matter of fact, that just brought up a different point, is that Meet the Experts has now been around for 4 years. We kind of launched in the pandemic, and you were the second person that I interviewed ever. It wasn't even called Meet the Experts yet. It was didn't really have a name. It was like, hey, I'm doing these live streams to talk about, just working from home. That was kind of how it started. And I
Sure.
had my friend Mike Doyle. I interviewed him just as the world was shutting down. And like a week or two later, you and I had, we actually live streamed, which this will stream later. But yeah, it brought me back when you said that, because we actually had a whole conversation on working from home. Can be found on YouTube. It is up. It is out there. Go back and try to find it. It was March or April of 2020 when we did that. So
It was a while ago now. I remember talking about the boundaries that you had to sometimes set. Like,
that's
I'm not
exactly
going to
right.
answer emails at 8 o'clock at night. Just wait till tomorrow. But it's a customer account manager, right? Is it urgent? You kind of
Right.
feel like maybe I should check my email. If somebody's system is down and I'm just, oh, well, I have a boundary. That's when you got to sort of use your best judgment, right? Because some things you do need to work after hours on. And if you don't, then maybe you're not a fit for that role if you're not willing to sacrifice a couple of hours here and there for emergencies like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. It gets scarier the higher up you go in the corporate company food chain, because like as a small business owner with just, an employee and a few contractors, I sometimes check my email on the weekends, and I have those boundaries that sometimes I'm like, wow, if I don't help this person urgently, then Monday they're going to be really, really upset, even though they don't expect me to do something on it. If there's a problem, I can really over deliver if I check my email on the weekend. And sometimes I say this can wait. And sometimes I'm like, wow, I really will do a good job right now by helping them. And as the owner, it's
Hmm.
my own personal, it's my own personal finances that come into play there. So
It's the lovey-dovey feeling,
the
right? Well, they
lovey
don't
dovey.
have to help me, but they want to. They're
Yes.
willing to give me that time, right? So,
Yes. Yeah. And I encourage my team to try to do that too. Like if they get an email from one of our clients, to just think about it. Like, is this something you could do? It's not that I won't pay you to do it. I mean, if you do it and you work, you get paid. So, but it's, just one of those outside of boundary things. We also talk about like phone, like your actual phone. Like, are you using your personal phone, which I can't stand. I'm like, please just call through the system. But anyway, different story, different topic. And we did cover those boundaries. All right. This has been a lot of fun. I always love talking to you. It's, I feel like we've known each other now for 6 years. So I feel like,
I know.
it's great when I get to run into you.
Absolutely.
What are in your business? What are some, you're talking to people in various manufacturing companies and mid-sized businesses all over. You have to get asked the same question over and over again, like one biggie, maybe there's two or three, but are there any common questions that people ask, and what is that question? And then go ahead on video. Now's your chance to kind of answer it.
Sure, sure. So if somebody's looking to buy a new ERP system, they're obviously like, what are my options? What's the best system for my industry, right? And those are what we call the net new guys. They resell Epicor ERP through, we're a partner, right? We're a reseller. But for me personally, people want to know, how can we get the most out of our system? What are we doing wrong where maybe we could be doing something differently process wise and cutting out a lot of fat where we don't really where we can trim something and get to the same result.
Hmm.
And a lot of companies purchase an ERP system, but they don't know how to use it all the time, right? And that's just the truth of it. And sometimes people just go, what am I supposed to do with this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that we help them figure out, what do you want to do with it? And so It's really that simple as, what are we doing that we shouldn't be doing? Or what are we not doing that we should?
Right. I love that.
Or what do we have to do to get this result? We're looking to do XYZ. Can that system do this, or can you help us customize a way to do it?
That right there, the customization. So it's very flexible, and the fact that you're constantly, it's kind of like you get the vanilla and then you need somebody to kind of dress it up, right? Put some flavor.
Absolutely. And we have an entire development team, because people need it to meet their specific business needs. And I will say, some companies will say, we're different than other manufacturing companies, and that's okay to feel that way. But we have people on our team that have been there and done that before. Right. So it's not you're not so unique that we can't figure out a way to help you or have somebody that's done something similar in the past, if that makes sense.
Yeah, total sense. Wow. This is great. Cindy, thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, it's always nice to, sometimes we do episodes and it's always nice to do an episode, but it's sometimes I'm doing it with like pretty much a total stranger, and it's definitely a lot more comfortable when I know my guest personally. So thank you for making this a really, really easy episode on me. And at the bottom of the screen there, we've got a ticker. If you want to look up 6S Partners, if you're watching this and you're unsure about an ERP or an Epicor ERP system and you just have some questions, Cindy, what's the best way that somebody could reach out to you?
Email, phone, really email or phone.
Okay. So
I wouldn't send a carrier pigeon, but the other options work. So.
All right. Perfect. Cindy, what's that email? Go ahead and let everybody know.
chooker at 6spartners.com, and you spell out the number 6. You just use the one letter S, partners, plural.com.
Okay. So the number 6 letter S, partners.com.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm going to do this real quick. If anybody needs to learn more, and Cindy, tell me if I do this wrong, I'm putting it up on the screen here. chooker at 6spartners.com. Is that right? Can you see the bottom of the screen there?
I don't think. Oh, yes. Yes. No, you have to spell the number 6.
Oh, spell the number 6. Sorry. Okay. Spell it. S-I-X. Save. Perfect. Show. There it is. chooker at SIXSPARTNERS.com.
You nailed it.
Awesome. Nailed it. All right. Cindy, thanks so much for being a guest, and I can't wait to see you again, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. Have a good one.
You too. All right. That was great. I love it. Like I said, I love getting to talk to people I know. I also said it would be a very fun, easy episode to watch, because Cindy is really dynamic when she speaks and she answers questions so succinctly. I'm sure if you were here from the beginning, you're still here now. So I did tell you that I would tell you how you could be a guest on Meet the Experts. It's right there, and it's going in reverse. So I finally got it right. I usually go the other way. MeetTheExpertsPodcast.com. That is www.meettheexperts.com. And here it comes again. And go ahead and fill out the application. It's free. It's just easy. It's a quick form you can fill out, and we'll get your info and we'll get you rocking and rolling. Until next time, have a great day and try to do something good for somebody else today before you go to sleep tonight.